Right, so we're going to be learning more about conditional logic when it comes to all the things that we've learned so far with the comparison operators, right? Something that provides us with a true or false type of logic. And so inside Visual Studio Code here, I have the file set up here as Python. Inside there I have lessons. Inside lessons I have something here called conditionals.py. Now, like I said earlier, that the conditionals, now we're actually following a path based upon something being truthy or falsy. This is where we're going to be coming up with if statements. We also have else statements, and then we also have else if. It looks like an elif, right, statement, and that just tells us that it's going to be an else if. So one of the important notes when we are doing this logic, a lot of times in programming languages, they'll use curly brackets in order to scope out certain pieces of code. And this right here, Python utilizes indentation. So as we're going through this, and if you're running into any kind of errors, it might be related to the indentation. A lot of students that I see, that I help, indentation is typically the problem. Now, our auto formatter should help us take care of the indentation, but in many cases, it may not if you're running into any kind of errors. So not only does syntax matter, but indentation matters to know what type of block scope are we going to be executing some code here. So let's go ahead, get started with some code here. And we're going to start off with a very simple if statement. So we'll put a hashtag here, and we'll do an if statement. And let's go ahead and set the temperature, and we're going to set that to 30. Now let's make a simple if statement that says if the temperature is greater than 25, then print it's a hot day. Now this is going to be in Celsius, right? So let's go ahead and do if temperature is greater than 25, print it's a hot day. Now notice that we do need to include at the end of our if statement this little colon here. That's a colon if you can't see it. So it's going to be a colon. That means we are done with our thought for this line, and then we're going to move on to the next line, and it needs to be indented. Your editor might have it only go 2 spaces over. That's an indentation. However, with mine, and because if you set it up correctly with our setup that we had to do, it should put in, I believe, 4 spaces for the tab. But notice that this right here, we have the semicolon, and then we have it indented right here, which means that anything that is indented will be executed if this statement turns out to be true. So let's go through this from a code point of view. We're setting temperature down to 30. Is 30 greater than 25? If it is, we're going to run into this right here. If it doesn't match this condition, right? If it doesn't match this condition here, then it's going to bypass all the indentations. And that's the beauty of the if statement. So let's go ahead and save this, run it, and we can see that it's a hot day. If we change this to 15, save it, run it, notice that we don't get anything printed to the console because we don't have an alternative. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, I'll go ahead and move this back up to 30. Well, what if we want to execute more lines of code after the if statement? Because maybe you're going to have several different statements here. And we're just going to simplify this to something like, hey, if it's greater than 25, it's a hot day, and you should wear some shorts. So let's go ahead and print, you should wear shorts. So now if we save this and we run it, notice that we get both print statements. Notice that it's executing both of these, and that's because we have it indented. Let me go ahead and demonstrate to you now. If I go ahead and change this to 15, if I save it and run it, I don't get anything. But if I remove this indentation that we have here, it's outside of that code block, and it's going to print out this statement here. So that's why I wanted to stress to you all that indentation is so important when we're talking about these conditionals. It's going to execute this block of code. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the if and else statements next. All right, so let's go ahead and section this off here, and we'll do using the if and else statement. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to have the temperature, we'll set it to 25, and then we're going to have an if statement again, just like what we had before. If it's greater than 25, we're going to print it's a hot day, and then we're going to do an else, and then we're going to print it's a cold day, and then we can also put in here, you should wear pants. All right. So as you can see, we have a couple things going on here. We are block scoping things. Please make sure that you indicate at the end of your if statement you have the colon. That's not a semicolon, it's a colon, very important. And then we have two print statements. Notice that it's all captured within that block of code there. And when I say block of code, I'm talking about things like this. This is a block of code. And then over here, this is a block of code as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and just so that I don't get any interference from the above if statements, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. So we can see that it's a cold day and you should wear pants. Why did we get that? Well, let's kind of go through this again, just like the computer program. Our temperature is set to 25, and we come down to this if statement. Is 25 greater than 25? It's not. So it's totally going to ignore this code block right here. And it's going to move on to the else statement. So feel free to play around with this. Of course, we can alter this number, change it to 35, and see what you get. But again, this is going to be a real great use case whether you have an A option or a B option. It's almost like you have a decision point and it's a split, and you have to pick which way you want to go in your logic. Think about potential use cases. Hey, is the game over? Did the time run out? Did somebody get all the points, right? Hey, the first person to 50 wins, right? If it's greater than or equal to 50, the game is ending, right? So all these neat things that you can do with these if statements. All right, let's go ahead and talk next about the if and then the else. That should be a good one to follow through with. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it. We're going to be utilizing the if, the else if, and the else statement. Again, in Python, instead of saying else if, it's going to be elif. That's the way that that one is talked about here. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing that we've been doing before, just so that we can have everything in the same view. We're going to do temperature. We're going to set that equal to 20. And then we're going to say if the temperature is greater than 25, let's go ahead and print it's a hot day. You should wear shorts. I'll go ahead and scroll up for us. And then we're going to do an else if, right? An elif. And the thing that we want to note on this is the indentation on it, just like we did with the else statement above. Notice that they are flushed in their line. So the else if gets that same treatment, followed by a colon. And then whatever goes underneath here is going to be the following. We're going to print it's a cold day, you should wear pants. And then the last statement here is a catch-all. And we're just going to say it's a nice day, you should wear a t-shirt. Okay, so if we think about this logically, right, the temperature here is 20. We're going to go down this rabbit hole here, and we get down to the temperature. So temperatures here is 20 greater than 25. It's not. It's going to move on to the next one. Is 20 less than 20? It's not. And then the last one here is, it's like a catch-all. If it doesn't match these two, then it's going to fall into here, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So if we go ahead and save it and run it, we get, it's a nice day, you should wear a t-shirt. And let me go ahead and just highlight this part here and run it. It's a nice day, you should wear a t-shirt. That's what we're trying to get at here. All right, so we have a couple mini challenges in this video, which is exciting. So let's go ahead and try out mini challenge number 1. This is where you're going to pause the video. I'm going to give you the prompt. You're going to pause the video and let's see if you can complete it. So here's your mini challenge that I would like you to try. So go ahead and save that. Go ahead and write an if-else statement that if it's raining, you should take an umbrella. Else, you want it to print, you don't need an umbrella. And let's go ahead and create a variable called isRaining. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video and see if you can get it. All right, hopefully you ended up getting this. So we're going to do the following. We're going to do isRaining, and we're going to set that equal to true, just to test it out. And then we can say if isRaining, colon. Then we're going to do this. Print, you should take an umbrella. Else, you don't need an umbrella. So let's go ahead and save that, and I'm going to highlight it and run it. It says you should take an umbrella. If I change this to false, save it, and run it, you don't need an umbrella. Perfect. Great. That seemed to work. All right, let's try our second mini challenge. And this is going to relate to maybe purchasing a movie ticket. And so here's our challenge. Based on the age, print the following message. If the age is older than or equal to 65, print you're getting a senior movie ticket. If the age is between 18 and 64, go ahead and print out you're getting an adult movie ticket. And then anything else, you can go ahead and put you're getting a child ticket. So let's go ahead and pause the video, see if you can create something like this. Just to let you know, I'm going to be utilizing the variable called age as what I'm going to provide for my testing. All right, hopefully you ended up getting this one. The way that I'm going to approach this, I'm going to do age equals 30, and then I'm going to come down here. If the age is greater than or equal to 65, I'm going to work with that case first. I'm going to print out you're getting a senior movie ticket. Else, right? Elif, we are greater than or equal to 18. We're going to go ahead and print out you're getting an adult movie ticket. And then the last case here, you're getting a child's ticket. Go ahead and save that and test out all the use cases on it. So between 30 and 65, we're getting perfect, an adult movie ticket. If I do 65, save it, run it, you're getting a senior movie ticket. And then lastly, let's go ahead and test out that one use case. We're going to say you're 8 years old, and we're going to highlight it and run it. You're getting a child ticket. Hopefully, with more practice, you're going to get this. We're going to dive deeper into more conditional statements when we're talking about logical operators. That's what's going to be next, and a good challenge you and one of your best friends to try out. So that's going to be up next in the few videos.